Hi friends, Rowan Eagles here again. I'm going to talk about a very different topic to what I've usually spoken about. This topic is very topical in Australia at the moment because we're actually voting on it, and that topic is same-sex marriage. Should we accept same-sex marriage? And should we be involved in the vote for same-sex marriage? This is a very topical topic at the moment. Australians are debating it, they're discussing it at workplaces like I have, it's on the news the whole time. There's bullying going on about it and people getting quite aggressive and passionate about what they stand for. Now, before I say this, what I'm going to run through now, the way that I understand it, I'm talking about it in a different way to what most people are probably used to hearing it. And this conversation or this talk is mainly not just for Christians, it's just for anyone, okay? If you're a non-believer or if you're a believer. So what I will say is I'm not speaking on behalf of any organisation or any movement or any group of people whatsoever or any church or anything else. It's just, this is totally me, totally Rowan Eagles, expressing how to understand a few truths of this matter. Now, as I said, it's very controversial. Same-sex marriage, it's spreading in, say, popularity, if you could say it that way, in different countries, in Ireland and Canada and UK and different places around, but it's not accepted everywhere. But it seems to be something that's very pushed politically. Now, the way I'm going to talk about it is I'm going to express it not by saying you must vote yes or you must vote no. What I'm going to say is just have you think of just normal, sensible questions, just questioning things in a correct way, just making a few obvious statements which are true to anyone at all, whether you're a believer, whether you're a non-believer, whether you're you're supporting the yes campaign or whether you're supporting the no campaign. These are just normal questions that you can ask to get clarity on the subject in any walk of life. Basically, they're just normal, obvious things questions you can ask about anything. Which reveals the truth of the matter and how we should actually deal with it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to say is with the same-sex marriage, they're campaigning for yes. They're trying as hard as they can to defend it. The no side's trying to defend it. But one of the first questions we must ask is, how are we designed? To get clarity on this, I'm just going to go over a few things here. How are we designed? Okay, very easy question, very easy to understand. You can apply this to anything. You can apply this to any machinery, any equipment that we buy, anything that we use. How is it designed? What is the purpose of it? I'll put that up there. I'll just talk a little bit about that. Are we designed to be involved in homosexuality? Is that our purpose? Is that how we've been created, or is that how we've been made to bring children into the world? Just a simple question. How are we designed? That will shed light on it. If two men are married, is it meant to be like that? Is it designed to be like that? Another question. If you don't believe in God, you wouldn't say designed, but you would ask another question. What is the natural way? How things are supposed to be naturally? People talk about Mother Earth. You know, it's natural to do that. It's natural to be like this. If someone upsets me, it's natural to get angry. You know, if I'm hungry, it's natural to eat food. What's natural? What's natural? So you don't have to be a believer. Believers will just ask this question, and non-believers may ask that question. What is the natural way? Are we supposed to engage in marriage between the same sex? Males with males, females with females. Is that natural to be like that? And from asking these questions, it starts to be clear to us how we should operate in these things. The obvious answer, which you're all saying, is, well, male and female is the natural way, of course. That's the natural way. The believers have said that in their mind. The homosexuals have most likely said that. The non-believers are saying that. It's natural for a male to marry a female and a female to be married to her husband. And they join as one. In the Bible, for believers, it says that men leave their mother and father and cleave to their wife. The woman leaves the house and cleaves to her husband. And those two, man and woman, become one and work as one flesh. So for a believer, it's very easy to understand this. For a non-believer, it might be a little bit harder. But you can ask, what is the natural way? And then we can see it's the same answer. Things fit together better as a man and a woman. So these are the things we can ask. And it's obvious what's natural, isn't it? It's obvious for many things when we ask, should the kids go out and play in the sun? Should they be inside all the time? Like, should they go outside and be in the sun? It's natural to be in the sun, you shouldn't be in the sun too much, especially in Australia, but you come inside also. Or there's many examples that we can use of what it's natural, Is it, should I drink water? Or should I drink alcohol or too much alcohol? Is it natural to? Am I supposed to? Are we designed that way? See, that it becomes clearer when we ask these normal everyday questions which anyone can ask and which we should ask. Because the answers to the things are usually revealed in asking the correct questions. If we ask the correct questions with this, we'll get the correct answer as to what we should do. And with the same-sex marriage, it becomes obvious what we should vote for and what we should not vote for. Okay, another way we can talk about this also is there's something that's said at work. I'm an electrician, right? I'm an electrician, and so I'm a tradesman. I'm in Darwin and working up here in Darwin and building a gas plant. Now, we have meetings, a pre-start meeting every day before we go out onto the job. And in that meeting, we discuss all the things, many things, to keep things safe, to keep things operating right. Like, what are the risks that could go wrong so we can control those risks so we stay safe? Which way should we do that? So we run through these things, we get the ideas off the guys. And one thing that's read out in the pre-start from management that's stated quite often every week or at least every month, and is always use the right tool for the task. And there's a statement there. Make sure you use the right tool for the task. And what does that mean? It's not saying what tools it's talking about. Meaning, if I grab a shifter and try to hammer in a nail with a shifter, is that the right tool for the task? How do I know it's wrong? Is it right? It's not the right tool for the task, is it? And why? Why? If I try to hammer a nail in with a shifter, why is that the wrong tool for the task? Because it would damage something? I've done this. It will seize up the shifter. You won't be able to adjust it anymore. Or you can slip off and hurt yourself. So it's painful. An accident happens out of it, and you can damage the tool. That's why I always use the right tool for the task. It's a general statement. It's not saying what tools it's talking about, because it's just true in life generally. If another thing, you could use it in different parts of life. Okay, let's go home. Let's go back into the kitchen. Someone was saying this to me at work. If you're cooking in the kitchen and you've got your eggs and you want to cut them up for the salad, if you use the wrong tool for the task, such as a chainsaw. If I get a chainsaw out to cut an egg, is it going to work? Is it the right way of doing it? Are we supposed to use a chainsaw to cut an egg? The answer is obviously no. It becomes obvious. We're not supposed to. What will happen if we do? Disaster. Start the chainsaw, straight through the egg. No more egg, splattered everywhere. We can't use it for the salad. So if we use the wrong tool for the task, we destroy the situation. It does not have the outcome we are meaning for it to have. It's totally destroyed. If I use a screwdriver, I'm back at work now, if I use a screwdriver as a chisel, it won't do the job properly, and also I'll damage the tool again. I'll round the edges off, so it won't work for the screws for what it's designed for. So we're always got to use the right tools for the task. So this is the same with, another thing too, back to tradies again. There's components in a workplace. There's components. We work with a lot of threaded things that fit together to gland cables into a junction box or terminate a motor or something like that. And there's a lot of components in electrical and in other trades, also in plumbing and things like that, where there's components which are called the male end and the female end. Say if I've got a gland and a thread and I need to fit it together to adapt to a different size or to a different coupling, you get the male thread and a female thread. The female thread means the thread's on the inside. The male thread means the thread's on the outside, and I'm going to reduce the size of the hole. So the male thread threads inside the female thread, and it works properly together, and then you can do your task. If I get two male threads and I try to fit them together, it won't work. There's nothing to fit together. So I can't do the job. The job's not finished. My boss is not happy with me. Why are you trying to use two males for? You're not supposed to do that. It won't work. You need to use a male thread and a female thread. And there's couplings, and you've heard these terminologies. There's obviously females and male bits and pieces, and they fit together to work out, to have the outcome that's desired, to work properly. So this is the same with males and females, like with people, humans. The male is supposed to marry a female because it's created that way. It's natural to be that way. There's someone said this to me, I was talking at work, it was an Indian person actually, I don't know what religion he was, he probably wasn't a religion, or he might have been Hindu or something, but he said, to vote yes for same-sex marriage is like voting against nature itself. How about that? Yeah, people know. To vote yes is like voting against nature itself. It's obvious. It's not natural. because you're saying it's okay for male to have sex with a male, or a female to have sex with a female, and it's not supposed to be. So a marriage is that unit where sex can take place to bring birth, to have a family birthed out of. So if you vote yes, it's giving permission in a legal sense for males to go together and have sex together, which is not the natural way, and it won't produce anything. Only if they involve a third person, and it's not supposed to be like that. And then you've got all sorts of other things, problems, adultery, or all sorts of other things. So to vote yes is like voting against nature itself. Even if you don't believe in God, that you don't believe it's designed. A person at work on a construction site said that to me. Another person said, he was from Iran. He said, this wouldn't even come up in my country at all. This topic of same-sex marriage, it would never come up. So the government would be concentrating on more important things that need to be dealt with, and continue to operate a marriage the way it's supposed to be married, without trying to redefine something that is designed to be like that. We can't use a law to change how nature has made it or how God's designed it. You can't. A law doesn't change it. What is true is true. That's a natural way, it's designed that way, and we've always got to use the right tool for the task. For a penis to go into a vagina, that is for sex. In a marriage, that's the right tool for the task. In a marriage, that's perfectly okay. It's a right tool for the task. But for a penis to go in somewhere else, well, it's not the right tool for the task. And if you ask that question, you will know the answer. I don't have to convince you of that answer. You'll automatically know that answer. So to vote yes is voting, in a sense, to legalise, to use the wrong tool for the task in a sexual way. To vote yes is giving permission legally to use the wrong tool for the task. And it will cause all sorts of problems. This will happen. Okay, so that's one way of understanding it. So just have a think of those questions and ask yourself those questions, and it becomes obvious. It's a very easy thing. People are debating and it looks like it's hard, and you believe this or you believe that, and I think it should be this, yes, or I should be no. But it's very, very easy, really, what it is. It's just natural. It's just the way it's designed to be. The parts fit together. It's the way it's supposed to be. Now I'm going to move on to a different part now. What I'm going to start talking about is just understanding entrances and exits. It's another way of expressing this. If you look in life, if you've ever been to McDonald's, and I'm sure you have, if you've been to McDonald's, you go through the drive-through and it has an entrance. And that entrance is the way you're supposed to go. You make your order and then you come out the other end. And you drive out the exit. And that's the way you're supposed to go out. And everyone does that to get their order from McDonald's. They go in the entrance and out the exit, and there's no problem. If a car tried to come in the other way, there'll be a traffic jam. People will complain. If you could get arrested or told off, something like that. So it's exits, you're supposed to exit. Entrances, I know this is really obvious, entrances, you enter, okay? So it's never the other way around. And car parks is like this. You go in the entrance and the exit is not for entering. The cars come out. If you try to come in the exit, traffic jam, police come, traffic fines. Society is disrupted in that little spot because you're entering an exit and it's not meant to be like that. How are things supposed to be? We can ask this with anything. Which part of the drive-through am I supposed to drive in to make my order of McDonald's? I want to enter this car park. Which entrance, which way do I go in? That's an exit, that's an entrance. Which way do I go to get inside? It's obvious. Enter in the entrance. And when it's time to go, you'll come out the exit. You don't try to do it the other way. So we don't do these things in life, generally in society. It's obvious. They're just easy questions and the easy, obvious answer comes up in our head. So entrances and exits is another way of understanding this. Now with when you've got the say you've got the female body, say they're married, the husband, and they want to have sex in bed. They're allowed to. That's normal. It's natural. They're married. That's what it's for. The male enters the entrance to have sex. The entrance is the front. It's not the back. It's the front. That's the entrance for sex with the female. Okay? If you have two males that get married, if we legalise and say yes and give permission for two males to get married, where do they enter? There's nowhere to enter because there isn't an entrance. So what choice do they have? One has to turn around. And the other one has to enter and exit. The behind. The behind isn't an entrance for anything. Is it for that? It's not for that. So what will happen? Problems will happen. You know, you can't reproduce naturally. You have to go again, get a third person. Two females together, you've got two entrances. There's nothing to enter. Two entrances, what's the use of that? Doesn't work. Doesn't operate that way. So, behind is an exit. My behind is an exit. Your behind is an exit. That's it. It's an exit. When males are married together, then when they go to have sex, one of them has to turn around. When you think of, say, animals, you've seen the dogs having sex down the road or whatever. You know, you've seen the cows when you're driving in the country, the horses or anything. They're facing the same way. Animals, like that, they're not together. Frontwards, they're like that. So when we're saying yes to same-sex marriage, in particular for the males, we're saying yes and giving permission in a legal sense for them to have sex like an animal when we're human. We actually have a name for it. We call it doggy style. We name it after an animal, after a dog. But it's not called human style, it's called doggy style. And sounds disgusting, doesn't it? But that's what we call it, because that's what it is. Animals do that, humans do something else. So the answer starts to become obvious, doesn't it? If you say yes to same-sex marriage, you want to legalise to enter in an exit. It's not meant for that. It's not designed that way. It's not meant to be that way. Now, there's another thing here too I would like to talk about, and that's about problems in the world. It's the same topic. The problems in the world, there's many problems in the world, okay? there's people can have many problems. There is many sicknesses, right? I believe you can be healed. But there's many sicknesses. People get cancer. And what do? We look at the cancer and we see it as a problem. Yeah? And we get them treated. People can have so ailments in their body. People can have dyslexia. People can have mental problems. Say like schizophrenia, multiple personalities. So they're problems. People can be addicted to drugs. It's a problem. We can have anxieties. It's a problem. So how do we know they are problems? How do we know that cancer is a problem? How do we know that having schizophrenia is a problem? How do we know if we're addicted to drugs? How do we know it's a problem? Because it's not natural to have that. It's not the way it's supposed to be. So what do we do when we see something and it's not supposed to be like that? We look for a cure. If you're a believer, you'll pray and lay hands on the sick, and you'll be believing for a healing. If you're a non-believer, or if you're not getting a healing, you will still look for a cure. You'll have medicines. With the schizophrenia, he'll go to the doctors and they'll get medication to get better. We don't legalise the issue. When he's not supposed to have multiple personalities or schizophrenia, we don't legalise the mental problem. If a person thinks they can fly, we don't legalise their problem. They think they can fly. Or if they think they're a kettle, or a plane, if they're mentally disturbed, we don't legalise that issue. People have got cancer, we don't legalise the cancer and say, oh, I've got a right to have cancer. We don't legalise it. We endeavour to find a cure, to fix the problem, to get it away from how it's not supposed to be and back to how it's supposed to be. This is what we do. For drugs rehabilitation. Be rehabilitated from your drugs. We don't legalise a drug problem because it's not supposed to be like that. We endeavour to correct the situation because it's not supposed to be like that. So there's all types of problems and sicknesses. There's even sexual problems, sexual sicknesses, homosexuality. Females with females, males with males. Is it natural to be that way? In your mind, not only mind? No, it's not meant to be like that. Are we designed like that? We're not designed like that. So it's a problem. What do you do with problems? You look for a cure. You endeavour for a healing. There's all kinds of problems and all kinds of sicknesses, but should we legalise them? Should we vote, yes, I want that sickness to be in society? We don't do that. We don't legalise problems. We don't legalise things that aren't supposed to be like that. Yeah. All kinds of problems, all kinds of sicknesses, including homosexuality, we're not supposed to legalise any problems. We endeavour to fix it. Some things are incurable, the doctors tell us. But just because it's incurable, we don't legalise it. Oh, I have a right to have this mental disorder, to have schizophrenia. I have a right. I'm going to legalise it and we're going to just take over the world with this schizophrenia problem. We don't legalise it. We endeavour. We look for an answer because we're not supposed to be like that. And homosexuality is not supposed to be like that either. So we look for the answers. You don't legalise problems. Now there's a term that's used. It's called sodomy. And it is referred to when it's talking about, entering exits. Men with men, women with women, sodomy. Have you thought of where that is come from? Sodom and Gomorrah, where the two cities, where they were being sexual in the incorrect way, they were entering exits, they were being unnatural, they were being the way you're not supposed to be, being the way they're not designed to be sexually, and they were destroyed because they were doing it. And the term sodomy, when we're talking about homosexuality, going in and exit, well, that is referring to the cities that were destroyed. That's the term. That's where the term's from. It should give us a hint. If we're legalising, if we say yes, if we legalise same-sex marriage, we're saying, yeah, we're standing up for sodomy. I don't care if the cities were destroyed because of it. I want destruction. I'm going to vote yes for destruction. That's what we're going to be doing. Who would not agree? That is what is going to happen. Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed because of entering exits. The penis in a behind. I know I'm being blunt, so I don't mean to offend anyone or anything. It's a bit crude the way I'm talking, I know, but this is necessary. It's very debated so much in Australia at the moment. It's becoming such an issue. I thought I should at least speak on it. So this is a problem we have on it. If people that are voting yes, they want to legalise these issues. Have you ever spoken to a psychiatrist that talks about children that grow up in a family of two mothers or two fathers? You know, they end up being, they're a bit, they're not balanced. They've got issues. They have issues. If we legalise and give a framework and say it's okay for men to be with men, and then they have to involve a third person to have a child, then we're going to bring the child up, and most likely it's going to have issues, psychological issues. If we do that through the whole of society, one day we'll need other prime ministers and presidents with issues, trying to run the countries, but they've got these problems, these issues because of the situation they were brought up in. It's not even their fault. The best balance, psychiatrists would tell you, not me, I'm not the expert, the psychiatrists would tell you that a loving father, the natural loving father, and the natural loving mother is the best environment for the child to be brought up. They'll be level-headed. They won't have the issues, the extra problematic issues. That's what statistics tell us, that psychiatrists tell us, because it's normal to be like that. Natural, it's designed to be like that. It's obvious. We always use things how they're designed. If we use things how they're not designed, we get an issue from it. Back in the 80s, you will remember this if you're old enough. I remember this. When AIDS was talked about, a problem had come out into society. It was talked about. And then they said, this is very widespread and it's because of the homosexuality. In their homosexual community, AIDS was rife. A problem had come out of homosexuality. A problem was in society because you're using the wrong tool for the task. You'll get issues. If it's not one issue, it'll be another issue. If it's not issues with disease, it'll be issues with bringing kids up. It'll be an issue somewhere. So it's obvious to anyone, we're not pushing to be for fathers, for males to marry females. We're not campaigning for that. We're just defending it. It needs to be defended. It doesn't matter what the law does. We will just mess ourselves up. that will always be the truth, whether it comes in or whether it doesn't come in. It will always be the truth. Marriage is always between one man and one woman for life. And it's the best environment for the families. It's the right tool for the task. You're entering the entrance. The diseases won't be there, but you'll minimise right down the problems because it's how it's supposed to be, obvious. So, if you vote yes, have a think about it. If you vote yes, you are actively participating in the acceleration of the decline of society. If we vote yes, if you vote yes, if I vote yes, if anyone votes yes, the reality is, we know from the other countries that have gone into this already, you are actively participating in the acceleration of the decline of society. More kids with problems, accelerate AIDS, more wrong tools for the task, accidents will happen, problems will come out of it, society, broken families. A strong society is strong designed way of being families, not some other way. If you vote yes, it's obvious that's what you're voting for. You are actively participating in the acceleration of the decline of society. You're declining the society, you're involved in it, you're deliberately doing it. Or maybe you don't know, maybe the propaganda, maybe the way they're making you think is not making it obvious to you, but that's what's happening. Because we know from Sodom and Gomorrah, we know from the AIDS problems, we know from kids having problems. So remember this, we always must use the right tool for the task. I hear it at work. And they're not even talking about entering exits. They're not even talking about, they talk about tools, but that principle is everywhere. That principle's in life. If I put the wrong fuel in my car, if I've got a petrol car and I put diesel in, can I operate the car the way it's meant to be operated? You answer it. No, you can't. It won't work. A problem. Wrong tool for the task. Don't legalise the wrong tool for the task. Defend and support the right tool for the task. Marriage will never be different. It's always between one man and one woman, whether the law changes or not. Don't accelerate the problems in society. Stand up for God's way. Stand up for the natural way if you don't believe in God. I hope this has become obvious to you guys. I hope that you take this, you ponder on this, and if you haven't voted, you'll know from this what you should vote. I won't even tell you what that is. You obviously know. Okay, guys, thanks for listening to this. That's all I've got for today. I know it's a bit different. But we need to cover these issues sometimes because people are getting all tied up in it and confused by it. But if we speak sense, ask the right questions, have the right statements, it becomes very obvious to us how we should operate ourselves sexually, how we should operate ourselves in a marriage, how we should operate ourselves in anything at all, the way we're supposed to operate it, the natural, normal way. That's how it's meant to be. So we're here to make society better, not make it worse. And I hope you join us in that, in supporting how things are supposed to be, rather than accelerating problems in the world. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you next time. God bless. Bye-bye.